Hi everyone, James Sawaski here, USCF expert, uh, doing a project of going over all my tournament games to preserve the moments. And we're in the very early years. This is game number 6. This is against a good friend of mine who's deceased, Gregory S. Rose. Greg was a very instrumental guy in Upper Peninsula chess. He was a big guy. Um, Thing about him is he had an accident when he was younger, and it paralyzed half of his body. And so we always saw him, and his right arm was kind of frozen to the side of his body. I think that was medically done, so it didn't hamper him, but uh, he adjusted to that. And wonderful man. He loved chess. He was the LSCA president for year after year after year. He directed all the tournaments. He was a very good tournament director. He knew the game very well. He got, I want to say, something like the 1780 in his prime, so he was a very strong chess player, very well liked. We definitely miss him. We knew when he passed away, he actually fell down a set of stairs in 2004 on February 29th. Uh, Went to the hospital, and they sent him home, and he died. And, uh, and I remember going to the funeral, and it just was very, very sad. We lost a pillar of our chess club when Greg passed. Um, this game here was played in July of 1985 at Escanaba Bay College, in what would become the bookstore, which it can't be the bookstore anymore, I'm sure, but and it was very, very hot. And I remember playing this game distinctly. I remember Greg was miserable. Now, Greg was a heavy set guy, and of course, like I told you, he had some injuries when he was younger, so he was very impaired. Uh, uh, and the heat, I remember him, he was just beat red. And I knew he was good. I knew he was a good chess player at the time. As you can see, he was rated 1685 at the time. And and I just decided, well, let's get to it. And again, I was white for the second time in a row here, and I was an E4 player back then, and we get into a two knights game here, but I make it a four knights game, and solid. Hmm. You can tell after this move here, I don't know totally what I'm doing. You don't really take the bishop there. Uh, that's just not experienced play. I didn't lose anything because of it because I get the pawn anyway. But black's equalized here basically already. So we're on move 8, and I'm going to run the little Kibitzer tables as we go through these games in the future. So you know, it's the modern time, and my chess career is essentially done. Um, I just don't play for keeps anymore. I'll play for fun, and I definitely want to coach the game, but my tournament days are past me. And so we'll use a computer to see what's going on with a lot of this. I played H3 here, which just kind of keeps that pin under control. Black develops, I develop. And E E5 A4 from black side. Not a good move. Not a good move because it settles a lot of problems that white had. Um, Not to mention that you could push the queen around. You know, I played that, and um, you know, on the one hand, is not really the best move in the world, but um, for, you know, 1400 versus 1600, you know, you're talking about um, undoubling those pawns. And when you're playing a lower rated player, um, to fix that for kind of free, um, you know, really was kind of like a thank you. Because even though bishop to f5 is a really good move, and black's game is really good here, but he didn't do himself any favors. You know, now I push up and you know, I kind of have an even position. So now black jostles pieces, and I don't like that. You know, once you get your pieces developed, okay, then you got to, you know, your rooks are connected, so he's done. Black has done everything in the opening phase of the game. Now it's time to, you know, take an open line or get these rooks kind of into, you know, into those kind of territories and things like that, and get things set up. To me, 97 is just a step backwards. It just doesn't do anything. And as a matter of fact, it kind of allows this nice pin. Now, you know, maybe there's better moves for white here, but you know, for a 1300, it's always 1400. It's always good to make a pin, you know, and to get things going. It just the better player can make a mistake. You know, and now he plays the move he should have really played the last time. And again, black's position is still very good. Um, you know, and essentially, I as the white player, I'm the underdog. So you know, at this point, you know, if I draw this guy, you know, I'm doing great. You know, I don't think that was my mindset, and I'm pretty sure I was much less anxious in this game than I was in the previous game. But you got to remember too, again, when you're a higher rated player playing a lower rated player, to let him exchange pieces off, it really, uh, you know, takes things away. And you know, the exchange didn't quite happen, but finally, he took the piece and we got it. And again, we have a fairly stable position here for a 1400 versus a 16, almost 1700. So he, you know, attacks, you know, attacking move. The knight goes after that pawn right there, and that's what you should do when you're a higher rated player. You should keep attacking. Okay, even if you're a lower rated player, you should keep attacking. And so my pawn inches forward, and not a big fan of this. Okay, again, I'm the lower rated player. You're simplifying the position for me. Um, you know, okay, knight is in it. It's and he's attacking again, which again, but could have done that without swapping the rooks first. Now, granted, he pulled this rook off over here, but he could do that anytime he wants because it's a check. So, you know, the knight being deep into my territory is a good thing for black, but there isn't anything uh, to it so much because I am going to go and attack his seventh myself. So you attack me, I attack you, and and that's what chess is about. It's a fight. Okay, it's a fight. So he didn't want, you know, again, that's a very strange move. It's not forced. You know, you could almost say white's winning here. That white is definitely better here. And he checked me, so he's going for the d pawn, which is better for me. And we take, he takes, and I take, and I'm up a pawn, but it's that's not gonna last. Okay, it's coming off. It's coming off. There's not much I can do about it. Attack the bishop. You know, I'm trying to protect. I'm trying to hold stuff, but totally missed that. You know, that could go that way. Bring the rook out and or bring the bishop out and attack it. Bring it down. And then that happens. And oof, this is a tough one because things are not only going to fall, but they're going to fall with check. Position isn't dead yet, but like computers saying, maybe H4 is a little bit better here. But again, I don't know what I'm doing. So boom, 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 and now you can see through the series of checks, my bishop was left off guard, and I'm in check by that guy. Okay, so I dropped the bishop here, which is probably what 1400s do against 1700s. The one thing I'm pleased of is I didn't quit. I didn't quit. I kept fighting it out. Okay, you know, that's good endgame technique. Even though I'm dead lost, that's what you're supposed to do if you have a passed pawn. You push it, and I'm pleased that I had that resolve. And here, I'm still lost, but uh, he's tinking around a little bit, and he shouldn't do that. And here's another one, you know. I'm not convinced that, just grabbing the uh, pawn or f3 even, you know, you got to march that pawn in. F3 actually looks like the best move out of all of them. It looks like, I'm in trouble. Okay, I'm in big trouble. And he brought the rook over. Okay, and let's move it over one. And he could still do f3 again, but he backs the bishop off. Okay, so I'm still alive, even though I'm lost. This is dead lost, but come down and threaten it. And I don't see how rook to d7 totally draws things here. Because he can just start, if he can just start going to f3 again. So our little kibitzer isn't quite uh, on par, but I took the pawn, and he came up. And again, I'm still lost, but I think rook to g4 might have been a little bit better because let's see, because you have the threat on the 2 there, and there's no check. So although the rook does protect it, but if you pull that rook away, then our pawn will get in. Okay, so there's tactics there, and it's confusing, and um, it's just it's chess. But I went there, and he grabbed that pawn, and now I'm feeling pretty good. I'm sure I grabbed the other pawn, yeah, which isn't the right move, but all of a sudden, we're going to try to make a game out of it here and see what we can do. And he's, again, you don't trade off pawns in an endgame. You win pawns in an endgame. Okay. What he probably should have done is brought his rook up to here and then cover any push and then just settle back. You're up the piece. You're going to win that pawn. You just got to lock in and you're good. But he didn't do that. And I checked him, and I came back. And this is a tough one because if I would have been the 1700 and he was the 1400, I would have played this out. I would have made sure you prove, young man, that you know how to draw this this end game. And I'm going to be totally honest with you, I didn't know how to draw this end game. I would have just kept moving pieces around. I would have kept dinking around. At that time, I'm certain I didn't know what a 50 move rule was. Um, you know, I probably would have marched my king off to the side or something crazy like that. Maybe, just maybe, I remember offering him a draw. I remember him taking it. And I remember my coach, Stu Winga, being just really, really proud of me. Wow, you just drew somebody who's really, really good. And uh, even the rest of my team was like, the players that were there playing, they were like, wow, you drew Greg Rose. So I'd done something very special at that point. Um, but as you can see with the truth of the position, I should have lost this game. Maybe that awful heat had something to do with it because I remember Greg was just miserable. He was absolutely miserable. And and maybe that affected him. Maybe he's like, yeah, I just want out of here. Here's a draw. It has been done before. I can't verify that. I don't remember that. I was just a kid. I don't think he would toss me a bone like that for just because he's a nice guy. Um, but on the other hand, it wouldn't have been out of his character to do such a thing too. But from what I remember in those days, he was there and he was there to play. He was there to win. He was a strong player. He's a very competitive guy, and that's the way that rolled. So that's my first draw. I guess you call it upset draw because um, definitely helped me with some rating points and helped me to get my first rated tournament off to a good start.